Hello, Abigail here with another candle wax reading. This reading is what Spirit needs you to know. Anything that Spirit wants you to know, this is my most collective of all the different types of readings that I do. So, 50-50, 60-40, take what applies. I find that when I channel, especially for wax, there's just a massive amount of energy. So, take what you can. I will do the energy check in. I have had people ask about doing like a pick a pile version, but that's a lot of candles. And also because of the nature of these readings and the way that my energy interacts, it's just a massive amount of energy. So, if this reading doesn't apply to you, I post these every Tuesday. I also have pick a pile tarot readings. So there is a little something for everyone. You know, we do our best to keep everyone happy. But just know that's why I only do one of these. It's just would be a lot of energy and a lot of a lot of water and a lot of wax. But this is what Spirit needs you to know. We're gonna go in to see who this message applies to. If the energy check-in applies to you, continue on to the wax reading. And if it doesn't, you can look up my other videos. You can wait till next week. There will always be more energy coming in. So we have Five of Swords. Ooh, Nine of Swords. Lots of swords. I don't know that I want the whole stack. I'll take the High Priestess. So starting off, this reading is for people who are going through a really deep spiritual transformation. Also, because of said transformation and circumstances in life, you're going through a lot of conflict. It feels like there's just a lot of people kind of picking fights. And whether those fights are like valid or not is not the question. It's just like a lot of people are willing to sacrifice like connection and care and comfort to be right in this moment. Is like there's an element of like needing to be correct. I don't know that this is you, but this is the energy you're surrounded by. We also have the Nine of Swords. This is causing anxiety and worry and concern. Um, I think, you know, this group is struggling with anxiety, especially the High Priestess. It feels like this is a highly energetic group. This is about a spiritual journey. This is about you connecting to your highest self. This is about you progressing on your soul's mission. We have the Knight of Swords, Nine of Wands. Yeah, this group. Oh, and the Seven of Wands. This group is really stalled right now, and part of the reason it's so frustrating is because we have the Knight of Swords. You are ready to go. You want to progress. You want to shift. You want to change things, and it feels like you're very stuck. You're having to defend yourself with the Nine of Wands. There's very much this feeling of like being up against a wall, which is also causing anxiety with the Nine of Wands. This group is in a very conflict heavy spiritual space, and also dealing with other people's energies are definitely coming in and kind of getting in the way. So like you're already dealing with a lot, and then we have everybody else being chaotic and picking fights and wanting to be right, and dealing in absolutes is definitely a message coming through. Like people just like not able to like think fluidly. Yeah, we got the Eight of Swords. Yeah, this group is just incredibly stuck. And we have the Strength card, which like in the original early tarot was called Fortitude, which I think sums up a lot of that, and the Death card. Yeah. So this group is going through, and the Tower on the bottom of the deck. This group is going through a huge amount of shifts and changes. I don't know that you're like necessarily, I think you're in the middle of it. I think you've already like hit a certain level of like intensity, but now you're just kind of stuck and trapped in this energy. And I think the messages that we're going to channel is like spirit giving us information on how to get out of it, when it's going to end, how long it has been, like a window of how long it's been, possibly to kind of give you some affirmation. But there's an element of endurance. You are in a bit of a fight, especially with that, Knight of Swords and with all of the sword energy and with the wands. It's such a conflict heavy spread. It doesn't necessarily, with the Knight of Swords, it doesn't necessarily have to be, and the Eight of Swords doesn't have to be necessarily tons of external energy, although with the, the 5 and the 7, there is like people are causing problems. But a lot of the conflict is internal. A lot of the conflict is you having to navigate and sort through stuff. We have the tower, which being on the bottom to me is like the reason you are here is because you experienced a tower moment. The reason you are in this moment and you have gone through this, what feels like a dark night of the soul, is because your life collapsed. And now with this, high priestess over here, it's about kind of coming to the other side, but the way to the other side is definitely feeling like the keys here are spiritual. All right, so this is the check-in. If you feel like this very intense energy applies to you, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you've been through a dark night of the soul, or you are currently experiencing one, if your life has fallen apart, recently, or honestly in the last 6 months to a year, this reading is for you. I'm going to prepare the wax and the water, and I will see you all in a second. Hello, all. I am back. We are going to get this candle lit to find out what spirit needs you to know in this moment. I am looking forward to this because, well, I have Virgo placements, and the check-in was definitely tension fraught, and I like to give helpful advice when I can, or not advice because I'm not giving this, but I like to be a tool or a channel for the universe to give you what you need. This is so interesting. We already have this like cross shape. It feels like you're at some kind of a crossroads here. There's some kind of choice you are having to make, or you have had to make, that has really changed. Ooh, and this is a lock. You see like the keyhole here. There's also, it feels like there's some kind of like a lock, something's keeping you, down and like trapped. So like you're at this crossroads. There's also circumstances that are keeping you from stuff and keeping you from moving forward. It feels like for some of you, this energy is definitely financial. Like you don't have the resources that you need, or it doesn't have to be financial, but like just material. Like maybe you don't have enough physical support. And if you notice that crossroad has yet to connect to everything. So I think you've been on this journey for a minute, but you're still kind of trapped in this place of not knowing where things are headed, where it seems like there are, multiple options down the road that could be what you should do, but you don't know what you should do. And this lock is like, you seem trapped at a point of decision. Like, and you're like, what's the key to the situation? What's the key to moving forward? And we'll ask about that in a minute here. But yeah, just you can see there's just so much wax already, and this candle is so bright. Like spirit is like, you need to know this information now. We also have a caterpillar forming, which I think is definitely a nod to you having been in like a reshaping of your identity and your personhood. Some of you could even be going through your Saturn return or through a Saturn square. Saturn returns are every 28 years. Saturn squares happen every 7 to 14 years from a Saturn return or when you were born. So there's definitely Saturnian energy. It could be a Saturn opposition, you know. Actually, the Saturn opposition would be 14 years. And then the other one would be 21 for the other Saturn square. So any increment of 7 years, anything divisible by 7 years, if you are in a 7 year, then that you're going to have a Saturn situation. Interesting here, we have like a very plump mouse, and it feels like something has been eating your energy. Something has been draining you, whether it is your fears or anxieties or stuff that someone is actually doing. Spirit is like, we have to find a way to stop this. Whether it is getting a handle on our mental health and seeking outside assistance, whether it is removing this person from your orbit so that they can't like drain you. Spirit is like, we gotta we gotta change it. Also, we have this shape here of like the back of what seems like a femme figure's head, and they're like reading a book. So it feels like there's some information in a book or online. Some outside source has information that you need and you should be seeking to help with your current situation and predicament. Also, we have this little nose here, and it looks like a capybara. And the universe is also being like, you need to slow down and enjoy stuff. Like they're recognizing that things are difficult and recognizing that things are hard. But also, if you don't enjoy anything, you are genuinely missing out on life. It doesn't mean you have to pretend that everything's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to, act like things aren't difficult, but you do need to kind of settle in. And when you can find pockets of joy and satisfaction to like actually enjoy them. We also have a little monkey down here. Play and creativity, I think that's the key. The key to this moment is to find channels of enjoyment, even if right now you are not able to access what you want. I think a lot of the heavy energy and the trapped energy is also just not getting the things that you want and need in life, whether that is better and more relationships, whether that is money, whether that is stability, whether that is a career that fulfills you. You are experiencing lack in some place in your life, and it's making it hard to enjoy other parts of life, and it's also kind of stalling your progress because you are not wrong. Like having a better job, having that future partner that you're seeking and wanting. Also, I just realized I do have like a little boo boo on my hand, and I hope that doesn't bother anyone. I went a little bit too to town on a hangnail. Try to keep away from the camera, but I'm letting it heal naturally. Anyways, sorry about that. I just wanted to like, I know someone's gonna notice, but there's this element of you needing to enjoy and play rather than focusing on what you don't have. The what you don't have is going to get resolved here eventually. We're going to ask about timing in a minute, but you need to enjoy the now. And a part of the reason you're stalled is because you're not able to fully enjoy the now. And I'm not saying that you have to ignore, the lack and the loss. I'm not saying you have to pretend that it isn't stalling you and isn't making your life harder, but you do need to enjoy the moments that you do get to participate in that are fun and fulfilling, and not to let the lack color everything. We also have another mouse here. There's just an element. Mice in divination and stuff and cards and things are often a sign of like resources kind of being drained, loss, deception. There's just an element of like you're not getting what you need. And while the mice aren't necessarily evil or bad, they're definitely taking stuff and leaving a mess. and and that's not something you need added to your plate at this time. We also have a teddy bear here. It's just there's a lot of energy of like creativity and returning to a time when you were younger. Like I think there's a call here to maybe pick up a past hobby, something to take your mind off of what you don't have and give you a bit of an escape so that you can kind of reset your energy and have a space where you can fully enjoy yourself, even if that's through disassociation. Like my thing with disassociation is like it's a coping mechanism, and as long as you know that you're using it, like that's fine. You are coping, you're making a way forward to survive life. It's only a bad thing when it gets out of hand and like harms other people. This is an interesting shape. It's like weird because like it's not like a thing I've ever seen before, but it's like this little monster with pants on. It's kind of giving, I can't remember the author's name. It's like that kid dressed up in that outfit with the crown on, and they always have big teeth. But there's an element of like needing to participate in life in a more lighthearted way. Like it feels like every time you're outside, every time you are engaging, there's a part of you, and this is not once again not wrong, but there is a part of you that is like, oh, maybe this moment is a really big moment. Maybe this moment is going to change everything. And whether it does or not, you're kind of missing out on the finer shades and the ability to enjoy because you are so desperate for things to get better. And like I said, I'm not saying that that's not a valid thing, but it's becoming like a hyperfixation that's kind of it's and energetically lack. Also, if you look here, we have a skull. It's kind of killing your ability to move forward. It's the kind of hyperfixation on lack is keeping you trapped at that crossroads, is keeping you trapped with that lock. We also have a bird here that looks like a water bird, like a sandpiper. They move really quickly, they grab little snacks and treats, they live their little day to day. There's an element of you needing to just enjoy the day to day, to just lock in on the mundanity of it all. And and really be like, you know what, this is my life now, for now, not for forever. And I need to focus in on like enjoying the parts that I can enjoy and participating in the ways that I can participate. Because otherwise, we have like this kind of ambiguous shape here. Otherwise, like you're just kind of, the days are becoming like blurred together, and there are no delineations, no celebrations, no lines, because you are unable to enjoy or celebrate anything because you are so desperate for things to change. And Spirit is like, things are not going to change until you at least release a little bit of this. Like, no, you don't have to be happy all the time. Yes, you can still have your longings and your desires, but like, it is kind of ruining you for everything else. Let's see. What else? Yeah, and we have like a little, almost like a snail or a slug, those little moments where you're hoping something really big happens. It's not that nothing's happening, stuff is happening. It's just a very, very slow progression. And as you listen to intuition, as you move with spirit, you are building the energy to get these things and these attainments that you have been looking for. But it is going to be one of those kind of like imperceptible growth processes where, like, looking back, you'll be like, oh, I see the whole story. But in this moment, you can only see little disappointments. And spirit is like, this is no way to live. And also, you are missing out on lessons, you're missing out on spiritual experiences, you're missing out on authentically participating. And because you are so hyper aware, you are delaying the thing coming in because you are so hyper fixated that you're almost holding it energetically in the same place it has always been. And if you can release, it will move forward so much faster. So we have a little heart here. So I think for some of you, this is definitely you craving a romantic connection, or at least a really deep friendship, or even like a better relationship with a parent. It doesn't have to be romance. And so I think, you know, what's really coming through here is like things are going to start to move when you start to focus on other stuff. So say that like you're really hyper focused on your career right now. Go do something fun relationally, like go on a date, maybe hang out with friends. If you're really on this, and this heart is turning into a butterfly. And if you remember, we had the caterpillar earlier, you are getting to the point where you are going to have wings to fly, but you cannot fly if you are so focused on the cocoon that you are currently trapped in. And yeah, so like if you are really hyperfixated on relationships, shift some focus over to your career, shift some focus over to maybe planning a vacation, or um, planning a party, just anything to kind of take the central energy off of the thing that you're kind of stuck on, so that you can really expand and release this so that it can come in. And what's interesting is the butterfly kind of returned back to a heart shape, which I think is really sweet. And we have another heart shape here. So love of whatever form of love you're desiring, if this resonates, it's coming. But the more you hyperfixate and the more that you obsess over it, the slower the process is going to be, because you are holding that energy of not having, of lack in place. And you're like, Abigail, how can we shift it? Well, being confident that you are going to find what you need, that your needs will be met, and that as long as you are, doing what you feel is best, whether that's ritual work or manifesting or whatever, believing that it will happen if you do it. And I know that sounds like overly simplified, but that's what's coming through. Um, yeah, as far as like timing, they're like, it's very, 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 very dependent on when you release this. Now, they're like, the release isn't going to happen on like a specific day. It's going to happen over time as you focus on other things, as you believe in the things coming true. Also, I'm hearing for a lot of you that you've done all of the energetic work you can do to call this in. The last step is just letting it go, letting the universe kind of take over. But let's see. Maybe if we ask, what's the timing from the point of release for this thing to come in? What are we getting? Okay. Yeah, they're kind of giving me bigger blurred chunks of stuff rather than individual. Give me one more minute to see if I can. Okay, we're looking at like And this tends to be a pattern in these readings. The wax spirits really love three. They love the number three. Um, and so I am getting a really strong like three energy. 3 months, 6 months. What is this shaping into? Yeah, 3 months, 6 months from the point of which you can let go. Now, I'm not saying completely let go. Like, obviously, you can still want what you want, but the point at which you start focusing on other things, 3 to 6 months, you're going to see progress. 3 to 6 months, things are not going to look the same. 3 to 6 months, things are going to have shifted. Also, we have this figure here with like a really big hand, if that makes sense. It's a very fantastical image, but it's this, I feel like it's this idea that like you have more power than you think. And so when you are like just randomly thinking thoughts and you kind of get into a slump, you are affecting the energy way more than you know. You are shifting timelines with the way that this is not to make you paranoid. But like just be conscious and like if you say like, oh, I'm never going to, let's say I'm never going to have enough money, be like, no, I am going to have enough money and the universe has more than enough for everyone. And if it's love, and be like, I'm never going to find anyone, be like, no, my person is out there. We will find each other in the right time and in the right place. You know, you don't have to like police yourself, but like reframe things. We also have a little infant crawling here. You know, you are going to experience rebirth multiple times in your life, and this is just one of those moments. And with the rebirth, it's not just about the rebirth, it's about the kind of growing up and moving forward after the rebirth, because this is like a crawling toddler shape. And so continue to feed into yourself even after you've kind of hit, you know, the hardest, most intense part of this moment, which I think a lot of you are currently in. We also have like an anatomical heart shape here, um, which is a bit more raw than kind of the traditional heart symbol. There is an element of needing to come into alignment because some of the stuff that you want isn't necessarily what you need. Now, this is not to say you can't have what you want, but there needs to be a shift in perspective and maybe a loosening of the requirements that you demand come through. Like, part of the reason you might not be getting what you want is because the universe has a bigger, broader plan for you, and you're kind of really hyperfixated and focused on something really small. We have a bird here with its wings spread. You know, believe that there is more for you. Don't pull back your manifestations and your dreams because you haven't gotten them. This is the time to make them bigger, but to release these bigger themes and ideas out into the cosmos rather than kind of holding them close to the chest. You also have a camel hump here. You know, you are in it for the long haul. You know, even when you get this thing, you're still going to have other things come up. So just a reminder about the impermanence of stuff is what spirit wants you to know, is like, you know, while this all feels really big, once you get it, you will move on to wanting something else. And we have another three here. We also have the letter E. So maybe E is an important sign or synchronicity for you. Words that start with E's, names that start with E's. E is an eagle, not ease, as in the word. So, you know, recognize that this is a moment of time, and once you attain the thing, you will once again go out and desire something out and probably go through a similar process unless you learn, unless you learn kind of from this situation, learning to release, to let go, to make your dreams and desires known, to stick to them, to believe in them, to passionately advocate for them, but then let them go out into the universe so that they have a chance to come back to you with the thing that you want. Yeah, so 3, 3, 6, 9, all of these are important. There's also a C coming through, so maybe a C, name or word. For some of you, this is about a cat. Some of you may be needing to get a cat, or a cat is going to show up as a sign that things are shifting, or you might have a cat cross your path, and that will be a synchronicity that things are about to change. Um, there's also like a stumbling, falling figure here. Yes, you are in a free fall right now. You don't know where you're going to land, but there is this need to trust that your guides are like, please trust because it is going to change. Please trust because it is going to shift. And I sense for some of you, this is not like a fresh problem. This has been going on for several years. And obviously, at the beginning, you were much more hopeful, and now you've kind of become much more, stressed, obviously, about stuff. And they're like, this is all a part of a bigger plan and all a part of you needing to learn some things so that you have the capacity for the magnitude of the wonderful things you're calling in. We also have a figure here who's sitting next to a smaller figure that looks like some form of animal, dog, cat, whatever it is. This figure has like a hoodie on. This is a call, I think, twofold. One, that if you have a pet, to be very conscious of the time you spend with them, to enjoy your time with them and to like allow that to be something that you find pleasure in. Also, spirit guides often come as animals. So some of you are being called to commune and to talk directly with your spirit guides. Um, I talk about how to connect to them on my channel. You can always pop a comment or DM me on Instagram if you want more in depth knowledge on how to connect to a spirit guide. But there's definitely a need to like have a chat with your inner crew. Kind of seeing like waves and an ocean. If some of you can get to the ocean, I think that will be a good energy that will shift things for you. Um, Also, just this idea of like the tides coming in and out. Like you are a part of a broader experience. Other humans have experienced the same feelings you are feeling. You're not alone in this. I know it's not very helpful as far as problem solving, but like things will change, things will be different. You will not always be stuck here. We also have an eagle, so there is an element of victory and success and power coming in. Um, and I think a part of this learning to release is also stepping into your power and believing in your ability to change things. Because I think there is a fear that you can't. And I think that fear is unfounded. I think if you look back over the period of your life, while things may have not been easy, you have always been able to shift when you have needed to shift. And this time will be no different. We also have like almost like Nessie's head, like a mythical creature. You are going to have a unique and different life. And a part of that is having a unique and different timeline. You will not be on the same path as other people. You will not experience the same things. It doesn't mean you're not going to, for instance, find your person or have the job you want or have all of your needs met. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what spirit is channeling right now. But it is this idea that like you move to the beat of a different drum, your life moves to a different rhythm, especially having that high priestess earlier. There is a element of like deep spirituality here, and a part of you being stuck where you're stuck is so that you are forced to connect with that and you are forced to participate in the fantastical. We also have like almost like a flame and a candle. You are the light of your life. And while other things are going, you need other things and you need care, you are also a fabulous person. So if you're thinking that this stall reflects on you personally, it doesn't. It's simply, the way things have panned out and the lessons you've needed to learn. And sometimes it's just circumstances. Sometimes things just happen. But we are getting a tree here, and a tree that is continuing to grow. Like you are bigger and stronger than you think, and you are so much closer to your attainments than you think. All of that work that you feel like has been going down the toilet hasn't. You are building a massive stock of spiritual energy that is feeding into this future. And the key to all of this is letting go. Also, this tree looks like a key, which is what I asked at the beginning of like, what is the key? And the key is to A, believe that you deserve things. B, once you have done the work, which I feel like a lot of you have, the manifestations, the rituals, the dreaming, the desiring, then you have to believe that the door is unlocked and that in the right time, this opportunity, this money, this person, whatever it is going to step into your life. There's also this elephant, you're being called to greater wisdom and broader perspective. Elephants live for a very long time. They live in community. They are very wise. They have death rituals. They have their own burial places. They have sacred space, and you are being called to create sacred space in your life. And I don't think you're going to get what you want and desire until you create some kind of sacred space. I don't think you need to have any like crazy ritual necessary, but a lot of people in this group are being called to do magical work, not maybe as a career, but as a way to improve your life, as a way to sync with the natural cycles, very much like the elephants do. Just a huge energy of needing to release, of needing to trust that this thing is going to come in. We have another three right here, three petals on a flower. Also, if you see flowers that have three petals, that is a synchronicity. But things are growing, things are blooming, even if you are not aware. And there's like this figure wrapped in a blanket with like their back turned and like I think they've been crying and maybe eating snacks. And it's like, yeah, have your tears, be sad. You're not being asked to not like feel your feelings, but know that you do need to, at least 60% of the time, release what you want into the universe so it can come back to you. Because right now it's just stuck with you. And once you can let this go and trust, and look at this one person turned into two people. So if you're looking for love, if you're looking for companionship or friendship or romance, when you release, the two are going to come together and you are going to have that connection and that care and that community that you desire. But you really have to let go how things are going to happen, the timing, the fact that it's not here yet, the feelings of, I'm hearing very distinctly from spirit, the feelings of being persecuted by the universe. There is the plans of the cosmos are so much broader and bigger than us. Doesn't mean we don't matter. It just means there's a lot of different moving parts. We're also getting a goldfish here. Abundance is coming. Whatever form of abundance you want, it's on its way. But Spirit wants you to know that we have to release, we have to let go, or you will never see the return of the things that you desire. Or, in the very least, you will be slowing them down by a wide margin. Right? Blow this out before I burn my little fingies off. Beautiful, beautiful smoke. But yeah, this message was just so clear and so fluid. The last reading I did was so chaotic and so much was going on. And this energy, while there is that poignancy and that sadness, there is this kind of very direct and clear message. And I love the two figures are still here. Very clear, direct message that you have to release and let your dreams and desires go into the universe to return to you in whatever way they do. And I think they are going to come in the way that you hope. And I think possibly even better, which is why you need to release. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Maybe if I hold this up to the light, there'll be a little more images. It can be a little hard to read with how the texture is on the bottom, so pulling that up might give me a little more insight. We have some things in here. Give me a sec. There's like a bird with like a really, you probably can't see because I'm looking this way through the light, but there's like a bird with a really round belly. You are going to have an excess at some point, not quite yet. And you're going to be sitting there with your little full belly and your needs met and feeling rich and fulfilled. And you are going to think back on all the times you didn't have it and go, wow, it did actually happen. It is funny that that message came through with like a little chubby bird who's been eaten well. Let's see, is there anything else coming through here? There is a horse head up in here, and this is about perseverance. Also, while this is a timeless reading, I am reading this during the year of the horse, which is about, moving things forward, connection, care, being brave, um, taking risks, while also being very aware of their surroundings. Like horses will do wild things, but they also are very like clued in and connected to their surroundings. So it's not like doing anything like unhinged, but taking risks, knowing the consequences is definitely coming through. We also have like an angel figure here with wings. You are divinely protected and guided, and there is an even broader plan than you're aware of. And I think connecting to guides or getting a reading right now would be really helpful. Doesn't have to be with me, although I do offer readings, astrology, tarot, I do private wax readings like this. You can email me. It's on my website, but you can email me for these. But yeah, it's just, and like I said, it doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody. But like getting some kind of a reading or outside input, or paying someone to do like abundance spell work, or to help you like call in because you know your energy is struggling, might not be a bad idea. Someone I really like for this work is called Esme West. Um, but yeah, just it feels like you might need some help or support, um, just to kind of like not necessarily to like make stuff happen because stuff is already on its way, but to like support you through this time and help you be able to shift your energy from this kind of desperation into this confidence that it's going to work out and that the universe is going to give you what you deserve, because it is coming and you are going to get it. But a lot of other stuff has had to happen first. Anyways, my loves, this is what Spirit needed you to know in this moment. I really hope it was helpful. I hope that it resonated. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this reading. It helps my channel to grow. You can always pop any like requested readings in the comments, and I will respond. You can also let me know if this resonated, or even come back to a reading and let me know like how it went for you. Anyways, my loves, I wish you all a very blessed morning, noon, night, middle of the night, whenever and wherever this reading finds you.